Well, welcome ServiceNow community to Hackin the Hackzone. In this brand new series, we're taking you behind the scenes of some of the coolest demos and hacks that we showcase at CreatorCon events worldwide. I'm Christy, and I'm going to be your guide on this tech journey. And today, we're kicking things off with something spirited. Yep, you guessed it. We're talking about the one and only LiquorBot. But first, what exactly is the LiquorBot? Well, just like the name sounds like, it's a robot bartender that serves up cocktails and mocktails when it's appropriate, all built right on the ServiceNow platform. I'm joined today by the brilliant Jason McKee, who's here to share the backstory and the hardware magic that powers the LiquorBot. So grab yourself that virtual glass and let's get ready to hack the Hackzone. Jason?
Hi, my name is Jason McKee, and I run the CreatorCon program for knowledge. In front of me here, I have one of the more popular exhibits that we've run in the past, and this is LiquorBot. Now, LiquorBot's been through a number of different iterations. We actually originally put it together in 2016 and developed this monstrosity here, which is a welded frame steel, and it's really, really heavy. And we ran that around the world until basically the suitcase fell apart. So when it came time to build the Mark III iteration, I went with some 3D printed parts. Well, after more travels around the world and different electronics upgrades, LiquorBot fell off, all the pieces fell apart, so it's definitely time to rebuild it, and we're going to walk through what it's going to take to build a Mark V iteration of LiquorBot. So we had a Raspberry Pi on the front, and we're going to continue to have a Raspberry Pi in our next iteration of this that runs a mid server and also runs a REST API, so the instance can basically hit the REST API for LiquorBot. The REST API takes in basically how many ounces from each channel, and ounces translates to seconds of runtime on each of these pumps, and then they pull from the bottom and comes up through into our common rail liquor injection here and makes the drink. So number of seconds is basically just controlled by these relays here. Relays just switch the pumps on and off for 12 volts. These pumps here are little diaphragm pumps. They are food safe. And my distributor that I used to buy all these pumps from no longer makes this model of pump. And I've not been able to find anything else that's actually rated for food safety. So I'm going to take this as an opportunity to upgrade. Also, we've had a issue with when these hobby grade relays go out. Sometimes they actually will blow up the Raspberry Pi. So we need to find a better way of controlling things. And generally just kind of clean this up and make it easier to maintain. These pieces here are really lightweight, and I over-optimized. So this is one of the ones that came off of LiquorBot when it fell off my table here. And this is what the piece looks like when it's not broken into a million little splinters. So we've got just screws that go through the top of the plate into here. And we've got these little captures to put the nut in, which seems like it would be pretty functional, except that turns out when you're balancing the whole bot and you're trying to replace one of these, having to hold your thumb or your finger underneath and get the screw in while holding the plate, kind of a pain. So the two things that I needed to fix when I built a new one of these was I needed to make it more robust, and I also wanted to make it easier to put the screws in. So this here is my prototype of the new one, and I think when you put it side by side with the old one, you can see it's quite a bit beefier. Turns out that it can be lightweight, but still stronger and bigger than it was. So if you look at the ends here, you can see the walls are thicker. As well as the support, so I'm hoping that's going to help keep the machine together and require fewer spare part changes in the field. The other difference is in these holes, I actually printed the nuts in. So actually, as I was printing, I paused the print job when these little holes were up and dropped a nut in and then continued on. So now the nuts are contained within this arm, and well, it should make swapping parts out a lot easier. So here's our first bit of excitement. So try to make it thicker walls, but also didn't want to have as much of a split on the tube, which almost works, but obviously I need to make the hole just a little bit bigger because that tube is not sliding any further in. So yeah, that's why we prototype, and it takes a lot of prototype prints actually to kind of engineer the final product. So stay tuned. So I might have failed on the tolerances for fitting the leg in, but the captured nut experiment made putting this on so much less fiddly and so much easier. So partial success. Let's talk a little bit about the pumps that we're going to be using this year on LiquorBot. So this is my prototype that I have printed out, and this is a peristolic pump, which is run by a stepper motor, which is the same as you find on the CNCs or the 3D printers. In fact, I actually stole this stepper motor off of one of the CNCs to do this test. So with the pump taken all apart, let's talk a little bit about how these work and why this is a pretty cool upgrade for LiquorBot. So peristolic pumps have these rollers, and the rollers squish the tube. So the roller goes in, tube goes around it, like so, and you can see it move and forwards and backwards, which means that I can actually unload the tubes instead of just flushing everything out. So I have a 3D printed design, and this is not mine. Somebody else made this, and that's one of the great things about the whole 3D printing makerspace is somebody has probably built what you need. So I started with this design and put it all together, went to run it, and got this. Looks okay. Now let's clamp it down. Still looks okay. Cool. All right. Now let's see what happens when we put it together. So with this all together, I've put in the stock size collar that squishes the tube, and I've ended up doing different sizes, and here's why. So when we go to move it, you can see, or even hear, that there's these little bits of where it grabs and stalls. So basically by trial and error and doing 0.5 millimeter bigger slots, I figured out that for this particular hose, I actually need 2 millimeters more gap on the collar. So I'm gonna take out the stock one, put the new one in, and then we're gonna see how this works. All right, so let's see the payoff of this pump in action. I have put it back together. I've gotten some glasses of water here, and I'm going to start advancing the pump here, and you can see that we've actually got water moving through here. So this basically proves, yeah, these pumps are going to work. We're not going to chain them together into a common rail liquor injection system, so we'll actually be able to run every pump at once if we need to for serving from LiquorBot. So speed should be about the same as before. Since the last video, I've been doing a lot of cutting, grinding, drilling, making LiquorBot's top plate here even more like Swiss cheese. And I've had the 3D printers burning up a ton of filament. That's about a kilogram and a half of filament required to make all of the pumps and supports and brackets and everything for LiquorBot. And now it's time to assemble. Okay, so I've organized and mise en placed all my parts here a little bit. And I'm going to attempt to do this in one take, live coding happy hour style. So the first bit I'm going to do here is the lower shelf. It's a nice assembly, goes together all in one piece. And this is where the captured nuts we printed in are way nicer. Alright. Let's get our legs in, our front legs in. So this is the lower shelf. Tighten these up. There we go. All right, there's the upper shelf, upper deck for our LiquorBot. Let's go on and hit this guy. So we're going to put the leg holders on first. All right, there's our leg brackets. So next up, we're going to be mounting some of the plumbing that goes underneath the bot. I'm going to start with the board that is going to, this is going to hold our control module. Put these on. Put on my pump number tag, because I always forget the pump number on these. All right, here's going to be our first cut, because I need to get a something that's not going to jack up my hand. So, cut. Well, so much for my one take attempt, but at least it's a pause. So, I've got a little bit of a beefier drill here. Okay, so that gets our number tags and our controller mount done, and the underside of the plumbing. So next up, we need to install the pumps. Alright, I probably put too many screws in here to get this to line up, but let's see how accurate my drilling was. Oh, a lot better than I thought. Alright, let's keep going. So with these screws started here, these are just through holes, and I have captured nuts in these plates. So we're going to actually be threading into those, and that's also going to help with our plumbing routing underneath. And get these started. That. And like that. All right. And let's keep going. All right, there's one side. Let's get the other side. I'm gonna be smarter about it this time. All right, so we've got our pump brackets mounted. We've got our underneath plumbing routes with the captured nuts. I love the captured nuts. It's so much easier than the last iteration of LiquorBot, where I was holding up the nut for every single one of those, trying to fit it into the slot. So now we need to start installing our stepper motors.
A few moments later.
So one of the things that is substantially different about this iteration of LiquorBot is the plumbing, and there is a lot more tubing on LiquorBot than previous iterations. So along the edges here, you can see the inlets and outlets of the pump, and I've got all of these brackets here to try to keep all the hoses arranged. This version uses about 3 times as much tubing as the previous iteration, because everything has to go from the pickup spouts all the way into the pump, back out the pump, and then into our spout pouring mechanism here with the LEDs. So, and then these are just a little help me keep the hoses neat for storage and packing and shipping and everything. But yeah, each of these hoses holds about an ounce of liquid. So just to get LiquorBot primed takes a little more than the old common rail liquor injection system that we used. So one of the things that I really love about this iteration of LiquorBot is the wiring is so much simpler. So because we're using a 3D printer control board here, all of the relays and switches and pump pickups that we had to do on the last version all go away. And all I have is just a wire for each of the 8 stepper motors that is connected to the printer control board that's got all the servo drivers on it. And then we've got a power supply for the Pi, and this is the limit switch that keeps the bot from pouring a drink, and it's actually connected up to this little platform here that when you have enough weight, it just closes the switch and says it's free to pour. So then the last one is just the LEDs, because all 3D printers these days have to have LEDs. So we're just taking advantage of that. So the wiring is like super simple, and then we just have our Raspberry Pi that runs the Clipper control software and the mid server, so that ServiceNow can talk to the instance. So super easy to maintain. Will hopefully travel a whole lot better than previous versions. And yeah, that's really all there is to it. Super simple, and super excited about how simple it is this time around. All right, so that was the plumbing and wiring, and now it's time for the payoff on LiquorBot here. So we've got a menu. Vastly improved. Thank you, Christy Merriam. Looks way better than the last attempt at a menu I made. And I'm going to order a drink. So my order's in. Now, this is something that was a problem on the last LiquorBot, was you put in the order and then you didn't have a glass underneath and it would make a giant mess. One of the great things about this being based on a 3D printer is I can use limit switches and end stop switches, and the LED controls to prevent pouring when there's not a drink ready, or when there's not a glass. So I'm gonna take my glass and got appropriate, making a little miniature martini here. Got my olive already, and as soon as I put it on the stand, we see it turns green, and we start pouring a drink. Green means it's ready to go. Take it back off, it goes to blue. So, hope you enjoyed our LiquorBot build video here, and see you at Knowledge.